Remember, this show is PG-13, so you might hear a naughty word or two. The best, worst, and our dream ridiculous NIL deals, plus regional debate club. Who will qualify? Which individuals will make it? It is March 30th, 2025, and welcome to the number one Gymnastics podcast in the galaxy. I'm Jessica, and I'm here with Spencer from the Balance Beam Situation. It is also the 31st of March, by the way, the day before April 1st. And you guys, we have some excellent April Fool's episodes, days of yore when we could get away with it and people believed us. Those are the good days. Now we can't anymore. But anyway, I'll link those in the show notes. And Spencer, we have news.
We sure do. Jessica, do you remember when the FIG banned theatrical makeup in floor routines?
The cats makeup for the cats floor routine. Yes.
Do you remember the Olympic floor final and how there were no controversies about it whatsoever, and there's no issue with the bronze medal and everything is fine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, remember that. We have a whole episode on that too.
We have a whole episode about how it was fine and nothing happened. Our first GymCastic live show of 2025 is coming up at NCAA Championships on the Friday night between the meets with special guests Damon Jones and Patrick Keans, coaches of the Romanian team at the 2024 Olympics, current coaches at World Champion Center, the Simone Biles, aka the Simone Biles Gym, coaches of Damon Jones, choreographer for Selena Van Herner of the Cats routine. We have many questions about Paris, about artistry, about choreography, about behind the scenes weird stories I haven't even thought of yet. So,
God, so many stories. They teach the artistry thing that to the judges. Like Patrick does that. So all the artistry questions, you guys, there's so many stories. They've coached in like 15 different countries. So, and like 7 world championships. It's going to be good.
In-person tickets on sale now at the GymCastic website. You can also buy single virtual tickets for this particular live show, or hint, do this one, a live show season pass where you get virtual tickets for all 4 of our planned live shows this year for the price of 3, which is a special deal for a limited time only.
Now let's talk about the headlines, which are brought to you by gold level Gym Nerd member Holly.
Holly says, I'm so happy that Creslyn Brose got a perfect 10 on floor. I'm a huge fan. Even though inconsistency and bunching of scores between 9 and 10 this season is driving me crazy, I'm so happy for Creslyn. I also love Jordan Bauer's floor and am still hoping for a 10 for her this year. I'm going to miss her next year.
I'm going to miss her double pikes so much. Thank you, Holly, so much for supporting us. And if you want a rage-o-meter or joy-o-meter, you can get one by joining Club Gym Nerd and supporting us at the gold level membership. Okay, headlines. There's not a lot went on this week, but we have to start with the most important thing, which is that there was a change kind of for the where the LA venues are going to be, but it's not really a change because they were already moved from way in like Inglewood to downtown, and so
for the gymnastics, there might be other sports, but who's talking about that?
The whole Olympics were moved because what the most important sport in the Olympics is gymnastics. So obviously that's all we're talking about. So hopefully it will stay at the downtown arena, which has a new name now. And anyway,
but you can't call it the brand names during the Olympics. They have to have different names for everything. Anyway, so
what's it going to be? It's where the Lakers play and where I got the worst food poisoning of my life at a hockey game. Just so
great
you know.
Advertisement.
We couldn't drive.
More importantly, the Simone tour has been there.
Yes,
for gymnastics relevance.
Yeah, that is
not some Lakers thing. This is the venue for the GOAT tour.
Okay, let's talk about the flying banana Jesus that Mario Mayer did at the DTB Cup, which also happened this week.
Yeah, not a lot happened. There was a whole competition in Germany. Jessica only wants to talk about one specific vault, which is correct.
I love a flying banana Jesus. Like, it's not, you guys, it's not as beautiful as the original Lily at the 92, 96 Which Olympics was that?
I mean, this vault is earlier than that, like originally.
Yeah. Who? I'm
I
trying to
mean,
think.
this vault is named after Wang Huiying from
Yeah.
87 Worlds, which was a great one, but that's
Yeah.
not what you're thinking of.
No, I'm even thinking of the backspin, which is anyway, the flying banana Jesus is a front handspring front layout, but she does it with a half. But this is the thing, we don't often see the real banana Jesus arms out to the side layout. And so I just want to give a shout out because I thoroughly enjoy that vault very much. And it's, it needs cleaning up, but it's fun.
We also saw the U.S. women, and I was going to say the U.S. women won the mixed competition, which is the U.S. women and men. It shows what the routines I was watching. The U.S. team of both women and men's artistic gymnastics won the mixed cup final. Any other routines that you saw bouncing around? I saw Yu Wenjing's beam for China, which it was like has a legit back layout to 2 feet, which emphasizes, if you watch that, why we harp on the quote unquote layouts to 2 feet in NCAA gymnastics that are really back pikes, because it's like that's what a 2-footed layout is on beam.
Yeah, that needs to be fixed, because it's like I know, like, you can do a double layout in NCAA, or you can do a pike, like a pike and then a layout, like open closed, which was a skill in the FIG, like during the 92, 96 Olympics. But we're like, come on now. This is, I mean, unless you're actually going to pike smash your face to your knees like a diver and then do a layout, no credit. No credit. We've progressed as a world in some ways. In gymnastics we have, but not in a lot of ways, other ways. So anyway, that's most of the headlines. And now I would like to talk about, before we get to regionals, the craziest NIL deals, which is a mini commission brought to you by world champion level Club Gym member Jonathan.
Jonathan says, I would love to hear you debate the best/worst/most ridiculous NIL deals and or entrepreneurial endeavors of NCAA gymnasts. You can also go on a side tangent about dream partnerships from pre-NIL days.
Oh,
I love permission for a side tangent. I mean, we do it anyway, but having permission is better.
It's the best. Okay.
Everything's better when you have permission. The Spencer story. When you're following all the rules.
Okay. The best. Let's start with that. The Jordan Childs, like putting Jordan Childs on the Lucky Charms cereal box, because Wheaties, everybody stole your idea. I wonder if Wheaties had somehow trademarked that idea, but now it's open. I don't know. Like, why wasn't everybody doing this before? Anyway, Lucky Charms. I don't know
if you can trademark the idea of having a celebrity endorsement.
No, I don't think so either. But I was like, did they? Because why didn't everybody else do it for so many years? There must have been some lawsuit. So you can't trademark an idea. You can't patent, like a patent. You cannot patent an idea. But anyway, okay. We're going to get all the IP lawyers being like, listen, dive into the Wheaties lawsuits. Okay, this doesn't count for our time because we tangented too hard. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lucky Charms, which has rainbows on it, both made by General Mills. Jordan Childs was on it wearing the rainbow Pride Leo with the Lucky Charms themed leprechaun rainbow find the gold box. This is excellent. This is what we like to see. Spencer, how about for you?
Speaking of Lucky Charms, next behind the scenes, when we don't have anything gymnastics-y to talk about, we need to have a discussion about how I feel like they changed some of the marshmallow shapes from when I was a child, and I don't care for that. And we'll have to get into that. But I mean, I don't think we can do best entrepreneurial endeavors of NCAA gymnasts without talking about Leanne Wong, because she kind of both invented that and dominated that with the boutique. But also, the thing I didn't know is that there's a Leanne Wong seltzer water, which you just told me about. And I was like, I was all ready to be like, well, the winner is Leanne Wong for the boutique. And you're like, no, there's more. The CEO gets it.
There's also a bus with her on it because she partnered with the cruise thing. Yes. Whoa. I would totally ride the Leanne Wong bus. I love that.
We need a catchy name for it, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a boat There's a bus with a cruise ship on it, and then there's Leanne, and it says like, but yeah, we need the Wong bus, the Bo bus.
We'll see. We'll workshop it.
Okay.
We'll see. But anyway, if you're debating who won, it's like she won.
Right. Oh, I wanted to give shout out to the guy from Stanford who made the little thing that they sell everywhere now, that cuts your wrapping paper. It's like the little, you put around your wrapping paper and it just all at once. You don't need scissors. That little elf, I think it's called. Okay, but because that's probably like, I bet he has got more money from that because he has a deal with Target. Like,
that's Target money.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a lucrative deal. Frederick Richard, using fuel from the ashy skin haters in a CeraVe ad, and clapping back at the haters online, being like, "Your skin's so ashy," and he's like, "You idiots, it's chalk." Except he's funny and doesn't say, "You idiots, it's chalk." He does it in an entertaining way, so that is one of the good ones. Also, remember when Sam McCulloch did an ad with the ballsy testicle soap?
No, I don't remember this. Why didn't you tell me about it immediately?
Oh my God, it's excellent. It's like he's running on the beach and he's doing other stuff. This is after he was done, but for NIL, but we're expanding NIL to like any gymnast with a sponsorship deal. But yeah, he's just like pulling at his board shorts and like, oh, you don't want to be, have a smell. And it's excellent. And so we need all the mag gymnasts to get the ballsy testicle soap because ripe for entertainment purposes. Okay, worst, most ridiculous.
I mean, I wish we had more, as I've said, more of a compendium of all of them, because I feel like there are probably some weird ones that like have gotten quietly dismissed or removed. But one that wasn't so quiet was, remember the like cheating on your homework AI ads that they were like, still had to be like, okay, we know this is mostly sports, but also you still are technically students also, so you can't be advertising like a cheating on your homework AI for your NIL. So like LSU had to release that statement to be okay. So the statement said, technology, including AI, can foster learning and creativity. At LSU, our professors and students are empowered to use technology for learning and pursuing the highest standards of academic integrity. However, using AI to produce work that a student then represents as one's own could result in a charge of academic misconduct. I love could result because like you've actually just defined academic misconduct.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And that was for Livy Dunn did an ad, but Kayla DiCello did one, who's a Florida athlete as well. So yeah, I enjoy. And the irony of this, of course, is that Olivia Dunn can't actually go to class because of the stalking and harassment that she endures. So she has to do like online school. But I love that for her because then she can just travel around and do whatever and be wherever in the world. So anywho, we talked all about the things we would have missed if we hadn't been in class in person on behind the scenes this week. If you missed that, these aren't exactly NIL because they're like a deal like with the school, but the Utah Athletics MLM deal, which are like multi-level marketing schemes, which basically like it's a fraud. What's that guy that went to jail for the fraud that defrauded all of the?
I mean, they're like back like a Ponzi scheme. That's what
yeah,
it's called.
They're kind of like a Ponzi scheme. It's a scam basically, and the sponsorship was on the beam. And we're like, that's a scam. That's an MLM scam. Anywho, that was the classic one. But the best unintentional crossover ad. Asher Hong did the sticking a suction cup physical therapy thing device on his teammates. And one of his teammates just stand totally still as the thing is going on his chest. And he's shirtless, obviously, because it's Penn Gymnastics. And he just looks at the camera and says, "It's still sucking." Yeah, so I'm just saying Asher knew what he was doing in that one. Dream NIL deals.
Okay. I feel like this is where you really come into your own. Your forte.
I know. I have to give, this is honestly this first one, Daniel.
But these are dream NIL deals. What was the question from Jonathan? From pre-NIL days. So people who
Yeah.
didn't have the opportunity. Okay, got it. So not.
So I
right
have to give a shout out to Daniel, he came up with this first one, which is excellent. Lamencia Hall being in a commercial for Party City Mardi Gras decorations.
now.
Lamencia Hall, first floor routine to go viral back in the day. Love it. I would love to see ESPN or Fox Sports or Fox TV troll NBC and do a commercial where it's like Lamencia showing her routine and being like, remember me? I was the first gymnastics routine to go viral. And then it's all the women of color who had viral floor routines like Nia and Sofina and Ohashi and all of those. And they're all like, yeah, they show a clip and then they all say together, this didn't happen at the Olympics. It happened in college. Watch college gymnastics. It's on ESPN or Fox, whatever. It's like that's right. That's what I would like to see.
Solid idea. Send it in.
We love trolling. Akash Modi should have Stanford gymnast. Should have gotten his Taco Bell.
I mean, he tried.
What was Taco Bell thinking?
Really?
Like, come on. A celebrity endorsement like that, it was perfect. He could have been talking to that little dog. And you know how many college students live on Taco Bell? Because it's like the only place you can eat cheaper than buying your own food in bulk. Literally. The only way you can go. We ate a lot of Taco Bell in our college days. It was also on the way home. Okay. So what about I'm thinking about the like an ironic one, like how Simone has that diabetes medication ad, but she and her mom don't take it, but they're in the commercial for it. It has a disclaimer. So I was thinking about Suni doing a pickle sponsorship, but then I couldn't think of anything pickle related that wasn't sexual. So I couldn't unintentionally.
Yeah, but also Suni can't have pickles anymore, right? So
right,
we're talking back in the day.
That's why it's ironic. But
yeah.
I see what you're saying. It would be yeah. That's why I'm comparing it to diabetes.
Or it's like Suni's like, you know what sucks when you can't have pickles? That's the best advertisement for pickles.
Oh, that is good. But how? Like all I could think of was like her walking down the fashion runway in Paris and like being like, you know what, I really wish I had right now. And then it's like an old school deli pickle brand that's been here for like
Yeah.
You know what sucks? European pickles and Parisian pickles are nothing like so-and-so's homemade deli. You got Jewish deli around the corner pickles. This is what got me through.
Better than that one, the commercial Suni's in now, where they have her like animated doing a like 17 back layouts into the space, which I'm like, been done. You need her on a Paris runway talking about pickles. That's what we're talking about.
Okay, back in the day, sponsorships. Back in the day, we didn't need this. But I would love to see Taylor Rice, always an outspoken on everything. Stanford gymnast, hilarious. Was the first to do the making it rain stripper move in a floor routine that made NCAA finals. I would like to see her do a sponsorship where it's like she's partnered with like Planned Parenthood. I can see Taylor Rice doing one of these. Any that come to mind for you?
I mean, first of all, if you're gonna advertise a like homework tool, I want like Aimee advertising it.
Yes.
I want Kyla Ross advertising it. I'd be like, oh yeah, you can be as smart as Aimee. Let's do that.
God, Kyla Ross, if she would have had NIL, can you imagine the money she would have made? She could just do a cartwheel and they'd like throw buckets of money on her. What should she have done it for, though?
Livy does that, like, Vori ads where she's just like, hi, I'm on a beach and I'm doing gymnastics correctly. And they're like, oh my God, have all the money. It's really a contrast when they have, like, hire whoever to do a cartwheel in the commercials and then you have an actual gymnast doing it correctly. And you're like, see, it's worth it.
It's
to get
worth
Livy in your commercial. To
that $1 million
have
she gave
actual
her.
toe point, yeah.
To do cartwheels in sweatpants on the beach.
So I'm thinking, you know how fragrance commercials are insane? And they're just like, someone's like leaving an art show and then they're being chased through an abandoned warehouse in stiletto heels and then they're in a pool full of diamonds and they're like, je femme. And you're like, what world did I just walk into? What has happened here? I feel like there are whole generations, whole Oklahoma teams that should just do one of those commercials that are just like stories that Alexis would tell about her past in Schitt's Creek, but as a perfume commercial, just basically what they are. Like Oklahoma could do those so easily with their chandeliers, just like insane pools of diamonds. Although currently, like, get Caitlin Rosen and Jordan Bowers to have like a diamond fight in a pool for a fragrance. Like, that's I mean, free ideas. Hello, the idea company is open for business. I'm just giving you free $1 billion ideas. You're welcome.
Daniel had the idea of Anastasia Webb, Oklahoma national champion, doing, because she had like a spy floor routine that she would actually be breaking in, doing like a cat burglar thing, like Christina Basquette did after she graduated. She's a stunt woman now, Game of Thrones. Everything you've watched, Christina Basquette has been in it. And that would also be a good one.
Solid.
She spiders down from the ceiling off the side does a cartwheel to steal your jewels. Love it. If you want a minute commission like this one, where we'll talk about something tangentially gymnastics related for 10 to 15 minutes, you can join Club Gym Nerd at the world champion level. And thank you so much to our wonderful commissioner, Jonathan, for this idea, because we enjoyed it very much. It is time for our GymCastic update before we get to regionals. Very quick. NCAA live show. It's on the Friday evening between competitions. So you can come hang out. There's a margarita stand across the street. You can bring your margaritas in. There's tons of, the games are hilarious. We have so much fun. And seriously, Patrick and Damon have so many stories, you guys. And if you want to hear about the Romanian side and things that happen in Romania, you're going to want to hear this stuff, you guys. So yeah. And also what it's like, the artistry questions, because you can ask questions. Even if it's an online ticket, you can ask your questions. So yeah, check it out. Early bird discount for the tickets for Club Gym Nerd members expires on the 6th. So don't wait. Gymcastic.com to get your tickets. And regionals championships fantasy game is up. Lineups lock Wednesday, April 2nd, 10:30 a.m. PT. That's Pacific time. That's very early in the morning.
Yeah.
That means we have like that's very soon.
So you're saying like once we finish doing the show, I should do my team. I have to do my team. Okay. Also, double check your roster, because there was a bug and there was an update pushed. And so some people did their roster, and then after the bug was found, it pushed and then it reset roster. So just double check your roster. This is why you should always take a screenshot and remember to hit finish. Also, Aimee Boorman's book, The Balance, My Years Coaching Simone Biles, is now on sale. It comes out in 3 weeks. You can pre-order it. So, and send us questions that you have for Aimee about anything, because we're doing an interview with her this week about the book. Because I wrote down so many notes in the book, and I was like, I want to know this and this and this, and why don't you talk about this more? And she was like, we'll save that for the interview. I'm not putting that in the book. And I was like, even better. Like the super nerdy gymnastics things that you want to know. Yeah. That stuff. Our regional preview is brought to you by Gold Level Club Gym Nerd member Creslyn, who said, Carolyn said, after much thought and indecision, I have decided to spend my enthusiasm meter on GymCastic. I recently upgraded my subscription in thanks for all the enjoyment I've had from the podcast. It's my preferred listening during my workouts. You inspired me and my husband to go to the NCAA championships and live show for the first time last year. Love you, Jessica, Spencer, and Fact Checker.
Thank you so much. That's so nice. I kept reading it. I was like, wait, she didn't understand. Like, she has to do it. And I was like, oh, it's us. We're the enthusiasm. We're the joy. Thank you so much for that. If you guys want to support us more and have us read a little message, you can do a Joy or Rage-O-Meter Club Gym Nerd member gold level to get that at gymcastic.com. All right. What is the format of this debate? The regionals debate.
Well, I'll do the regionals format first, just so we, remember.
I'm ready for the debate. So, okay.
We're going to do the format first, just to establish, because I feel like it's going to come up that you're going to be like, wait, how does, who qualifies, when, how? No one's going to make this regional. And I'm like, we already have regionals. So, okay. Regionals have been established. There are 2 semifinals at each of the 4 regional sites. 2 teams from each semifinal advance to the regional final. At the regional final, 4 teams total. 2 teams advance from that regional final to the national championship. 2 teams from each of the 4 regionals. 8 teams make nationals. At each regional, the top all-arounder and top gymnast on each event who is not part of a qualifying team will also advance to nationals. And then there are various tie breaks. Like in the all-around, the tiebreak is your highest event score and then your next highest event score, which is never controversial. Hashtag Ali Raceman, Ali Mustafa, Or on event finals, the tiebreak is you count all the judges' scores rather than just the ones you're dropping.
I have an important addition to this, which is to remind everybody that regionals start on Wednesday. There is a meet for the teams on the bubble that's called a play-in, which is the stupidest name ever. There's no playing in gymnastics unless you go to adult gymnastics, and it's so funny. You should totally do it.
It's not actually called the play-in. It's called round one. Just that's like
yeah, they used to call it the play-in, but also they call it round one now, which is better. But it should be like battle to the death. Only one survive. I say this every year.
Yeah, and they're like, maybe we don't want to have like blood imagery in our format or something.
What should it be? Split leaps of death. Something like, okay, not death.
Still death imagery. Jessica cannot escape death imagery.
Disco off. There's a flip off. Flip off round one. Yes. Okay. You guys will also please send us your ideas for what's better than round one. Round one starts Wednesday. That's why your fantasy lineups have to be done so early on Wednesday, because regional starts Wednesday.
But there are 4 and they're staggered. So for us as fans, there's always something Wednesday through Sunday.
Wednesday through Sunday. Saturday after regionals is our college and cocktails.
That's after the first 2 regional finals, and then there are 2 more on Sundays. But we don't do college and cocktails on Sundays because give us a break.
Please. That's the day we prepare to do the big show. Sunday's a work day. Okay. Penn State Regional. Let us begin the debate.
Let's start. Okay, who's here? Semifinal number 1 has Michigan State, Kentucky, Ohio State, and Penn State. Semifinal number 2 has LSU, Arkansas, Michigan, and either Maryland or West Virginia, who are in the play-in. So, okay, this is how we're going to do this. Because you know how I feel like we've been agreeing too much this season.
We have.
But sometimes you know how when you're talking to a friend and they say something and it's just like easier to agree, even if you're like, that's kind of BS, but you're like, oh, good point. Yeah, which I think is an experience all of us have. We're done with that this season. We have some disagreements. We're going to get them out. We're going to talk through them. We're going to debate them. In that spirit, I now call this meeting of the Penn State Regional Debate Club to order. Sure. You know how that's the sound effect? The topic at the Penn State Regional Debate Club. Support or refute the following statement. You should be rooting for Michigan State to advance to nationals with LSU. Jessica, you may begin.
First of all, vault integrity. Because
you have to say whether you're on the support or
obviously side, I'm on MSU's side. Isn't this obvious? I'm on MSU's side. I said vault integrity. That's MSU.
The options were support or refute the statement, and then you just yelled the word vault, which is like, I mean, sure, it's tangentially gymnastics related. It would work as a mini commission, but we'd like a side that you're taking in this argument here.
Support. Michigan State and LSU should be the ones who go. Okay, best vaulting team in the NCAA. That is my argument. I am making an argument for why they should go. This team has the verb, the vigor, the enthusiasm, the spirit. Michigan State haven't made it to nationals since 1988, you guys. Made it to regionals. Not since 1988 have they made it to national championships. That's just after the NCAA invented women. That's how long it's been. It is time for them. They're the Phoenix team. They have Skylar Schulte, Gabby Stevens, Delaney Harkness. It's their last seasons, you guys. It can't be over. I am not personally ready for their careers to be over. But I mentioned the Phoenix team. Like, this team has been lower than any other team. They went through all of it. Like, I'm just so happy that I can say MSU without cringing and wanting to burn something down now. And it's because of this team. They did it. They changed my view of MSU, where the monster worked, to a great gymnastics team. And that is my image now. And I'm so grateful to them. And that's why they should go with LSU. And your argument?
I will take the refute side of this because fundamentally, the statement, you should be rooting for Michigan State to advance to nationals with LSU, implies that you should be rooting against Kentucky or Arkansas or any of the unseeded teams here. And there is no reason has been presented for this. There is no, you didn't provide any reason I should be rooting against Kentucky or Arkansas, but one fundamentally has to root for two teams, or because two teams can advance. So I would say there are plenty of reasons one should even support Kentucky and Arkansas in their quest to advance to nationals. Let's start with Kentucky. You cited the notion of vault integrity. No team exemplifies vault integrity in NCAA more than Kentucky, a lineup which has 4 different vaults in it, showcasing 3 different vaults entries in their lineup of 6. It's a cure for the repetitiveness of NCAA vault. And while there is no reward for that, it is in the scores, it is certainly a fan service. They're showing mastery of the spectrum of vault as an apparatus rather than mastery of a single technique or a single vault. This team also has Isabella Magnelli displaying virtuosity on beam, showing skills that we see all the time from lots of different gymnasts, but showing how they actually should be done in their depictions in the Code of Points, showing superiority in her execution of those skills. She should be in the same conversation as Helen Hu, as far as I'm concerned, when we talk about beams. You have Creslyn Brose, to cite Holly's support meter from earlier. You have Creslyn Brose, who might beat Jordan Bowers in a double pike-off. That's really what we should have on the Sunday after nationals, is like an all-star skills competition. And you're just like, okay, we've decided Creslyn Brose and Jordan Bowers are doing a double pike-off.
That's the real tiebreaker, by the way.
Yeah.
It should be that.
As for Arkansas, this team could not have built a better underdog narrative to root for if they had tried at this point, because now they are the aggrieved team the hardworking student athletes have been cruelly denied an opportunity to compete during the conference championships when every other team, regardless of their quality or qualification status, was able to compete. Now they are, if you are the coaching staff for Arkansas, you are hammering that idea. Everyone's trying to keep us down. We've been mistreated compared to every other team, and we're going to show them. We're going to come back stronger.
So not the way of those coaches, but I love this.
But they should be. Memo, Jordan, Chris, Kyla. This is the story. Motivation. That's the speech. It's also realistic for Arkansas. They've beat Florida and LSU this season. They have Joss Robertson on their team, who is the most exciting freshman in NCAA with her skill selection and her power and her options. And Maddie Jones is on that team, one of the underrated form queens, who maybe doesn't get talked about in the form conversation because she's not like anchoring lineups, but she should be. Reasons upon reasons to support these other teams and not root for Michigan State specifically to advance to the national championship.
All right. The tough semifinal question is, can Michigan upset Arkansas to make the regional final, or is Michigan just a famous team that sounds more dangerous than they actually are?
Ooh, zing. All right. I do think Michigan can make the regional final here. This is a really talented team. And if you take if you were to compare the Michigan and Arkansas rosters routine by routine, there's no reason you look at the Michigan routines compared to the Arkansas ones and would say they're inferior. They're ranked right next to each other. So I think it's possible. Michigan has not had a Michigan season, but I don't think that's out of the question that they would, upset someone, get into the regional final. I think it's possible.
I think the problem, with Michigan and Oklahoma, Oklahoma's been great, but they have not been themselves, is once you're on a team that has won, not winning is always a failure. And if you have that in your mind, then you have to get it out of your mind to be proud of yourself and to control what you control and all the things you learn to just do your job and be in the moment. And I feel like they're so in their heads since they won. And so they have to get it out of there and just be positive.
On the topic of your favorite individuals, let's go there. I would expect in this regional, our individual qualifiers to be dominated by whichever of Kentucky or Michigan State doesn't get through. And we're, using LSU getting through as an assumption. All of these regionals are tough enough that I think the top seeds can't afford a meltdown in the regional final, and they wouldn't advance, and they wouldn't. If they have a meltdown, they wouldn't advance. But, for preview purposes, I think if teams like LSU, Oklahoma, Florida hit, they should be making nationals. So we're kind of, making assumptions. It's not a given, but we're making assumptions. I would say, yeah, MSU and Kentucky, like in the all around, you've got, if MSU doesn't qualify as a team, you've got Nikki Smith, you've got Gabby Steven in the all around. If Kentucky doesn't make it, you've got Skylar Killow-Wilhelm in the all around. See them maybe going up against Joss Robertson doing the all around. I might be lean toward Robertson as an all around qualifier, but I think that's going to be an interesting battle depending on who's eligible for it and who hasn't made it as a team. So that's what I'm looking out for this. The all around should be pretty interesting from this one for qualification. Who are your Jessicas, your little long shots that you're like, no, let's stop talking about the good stuff. Let's talk about people I want to qualify.
Kendall Whitman, the George Washington, basically the individuals. Mm-hmm. First, because they've had to survive DC this year. And secondly, Kendall Whitman's floor. We have talked about her for years and years. All 3 passes are E passes. Let me repeat that. All 3 passes are E passes. She doesn't have any just gonna walk and do a front layout to front layout full, which I've been doing since I was 7. She starts with a double front. She has her front double full into another front skill. All E passes, you guys. And she's so bouncy, and she does all this stuff on her knees and front hand springs out of her knees, and then she stands up for her knees. And I love the choreography, and I can't get enough of her. And I also want her to do gymnastics forever. So Kendall Whitman, floor, that is my individual long shot, but it shouldn't be a long shot. Lola Montebago from George Washington for bars. Lily Smith form with a big old Tkachev. And she almost has her elbows straight on every single kip or cast handstand. So her form's so good, you guys. So I would like to see, it's a long shot, but you never know. It's bars. You can fly off of it. You can fall off of it. Things happen on bars. So I'm not wishing that on anyone, but I'm just saying,
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah. So some other individuals thinking through events. I'd like to see a Michigan individual qualify to nationals. A Carly Bauman on bars or beam, I think would be appropriate to qualify. It shouldn't be the end of the road for Michigan if they don't make it as a team. And Carly Bauman should, in her last year, should make it to national. Or a Kaylee Boozer beam. That would be a nice an individual event qualifier to have for Michigan. If Joss Robertson doesn't get there in the all-around, I'd like to see something from her at nationals. I'd really like her as an individual qualifier because then it's like you don't feel the pressure of having to hit your routine for the team, and maybe she'll be like, well, it's just for me. I'll throw in whatever elite nonsense I'm working on right now and want to do. So that would be very fun, just as a recommendation of what we could see if she qualifies as an individual for all-around or an event. Just, it's just for you. Throw whatever out there. Make it fun. It's like gymnastics is supposed to be fun or something.
What skill would we like to see her do that hasn't been done in NCAA yet? We've had full twisting double layouts on floor.
Do a double lay. Throw it out there.
Yeah, that hasn't been done. Only one. Yeah, that's the one. We haven't had a Morse.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Tori Vetter is someone who kind of carried Ohio State this season because they didn't have Peyton Harris. So I'd like to see some sort of reward for that. Danny Latronica has a really nice beam. She's a freshman at Penn State. I really like her beam routine. I guess if I had a long shots category, it would be Skylar Carrico for Penn on vault. She's set all of the Penn all around records this year. She set the vault record. She stuck Yurchenko 1.5. And so that would be my long shot that I'd enjoy seeing.
The people that I want to see in round 1, also known as the flip off, for Maryland versus West Virginia. This is the thing. I can't pick. All right, I'm not going to pick individuals for this because I love these teams so much. And this is like who gets to move on to the next round. And it's like Maryland, West Virginia. It's like Maryland with their pride, integrity, not acquiescing in advance, not complying in advance. They are still doing their pride meets. They're doing everything. And like Virginia, Maryland, DC are basically the same place. So, well, depending on where you are. In proximity, but I just I love their Leos. I love they're continuing that. So they're a favorite. And then we have West Virginia is still the silliest team with the stick plunger hat. And I loved, and they started off strong with the coal mine photo shoots. Like they are so, they've bedazzled that thing now. It's, I mean, I don't know. It's like if Maryland will wear their Pride Leos to NCAA championships, then I might be up for Maryland. But if West Virginia are guaranteed the stick plunger hat, I can't choose. Typical.
You should be the advertiser for round one for NCAA Gymnastics because I feel like no one loves round one more than Jessica.
It's so dramatic. Also, it's like you're seniors, you don't know if it's your last meet. It might be your last meet ever, or you might make it another round. Yeah, there's so much drama in regionals. Like if only all the meets counted for something, because right now they really don't. That would make a difference.
If only regionals weren't just on ESPN Plus or something. That'd be good too. Club Gym Nerd. You get discounts and first dibs on live show tickets, an extra whole podcast every week, athlete dossiers for major competitions, code guides, options to commission your own segments. It also makes a great gift. Check it out at gymcastic.com at the Join the Club tab.
The Utah Regional, also known as Battle Altitude.
I was wondering how long it was going to take to get altitude into our Utah regional discussion, and it was immediately. Okay, who's here? Semifinal 1. Number 5, UCLA. Number 12, Minnesota. Southern Utah and Boise State. In semifinal 2, we have number 4, Utah. Number 13, Stanford. Denver. And then either BYU or Utah State after the round 1 play-in. So, let us call this meeting of the Utah Regional Debate Club to order. The topic: support or refute the following statement. This is the most boring regional of the 4. Jessica.
How dare you, sir, refute? It is inappropriate and offensive to refer to a regional with Brooklyn Moores and Jordan Childs and Stanford's Druid stick ceremony as boring. No regional is less boring. The coolest and most artistic teams are in this regional, which is the most important, including Carly's version, Utah. That's what we're calling now. Utah, Carly's version.
Utah, Carly's version, yeah.
They're fun now. They're a totally different team. Minnesota's Beam Queens are in this, now starring Canadian Olympian Ava Stewart. You have the Flippin' Birds, which is the best name for a gymnastics team ever. This is why we call round 1 the flip-off. Then you have sleeper agent Denver pretending to be the bad team on Beam all season, even though they're not, and they're going to Stanford it at regionals and be like, you're welcome, we won. So it's all happening at Utah, which makes it more exciting because you have to see who can deal with altitude. And of course, Denver doesn't count because they're even higher.
All right. I'm going to support the statement that this is the most boring regional of the 4 because I hate to break to you, but this is a sport. And as much as you will try to make it's only fun if you don't pay attention to the scores happen, that's not what we're doing here. This is a results game. There are scores, there are winners, there are losers, there are results. What makes something exciting or interesting or not boring is the score and the finish. And this one has the clearest perspective result. Utah is here. Utah has never not made nationals ever, and is competing at home. UCLA is here. UCLA got the highest conference championship score of any of the teams with a 198.4. You have 2 teams that are way out in front and 2 spots at nationals. Snooze, this is the boring one. Tap, 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 case ended.
How dare you? Remember what happened to Jordan when she tried to compete at Utah last time, even though she had a scooter accident? I'm just saying. you never know what's going to happen. Very exciting. And either way, it'll be dramatic and entertaining because that's always what you get with Jordan Childs. So also Denver is, for everyone wants to write in, is 500 feet higher than Salt Lake City. So there you go. Denver, advantage Denver. Okay, next. The tough semifinal question is, how has Sleeper Agent Denver lulled everyone into a false sense of security heading into regionals?
I feel like there's a lot of assumptions being made in the framing of this question, but yeah.
How dare you?
Sleeper Agent Denver. Okay, so here's the thing. So Riley Mendel started the season in the all-around, and she's been competing progressively fewer events and only did bars at the conference championships. If they can have Riley Mendel back at some level of full strength and doing all the routines, that would be their, like, we're emerging and remember how you counted us out, don't count us out moment. Because she's Riley Mendel and she's excellent and she should be on every event if she's able to do them. So yeah, maybe they're lulling everyone into a false sense of security by being like, oh, she can only do bars. No, wait. We'll see.
Let's discuss the individuals, the most important part. And this one's really hard, Spencer.
Yeah, I think I like a Stanford. If we have, Utah and UCLA advances teams, I like a Stanford all-arounder here. Anna Roberts or Brennan Nault, I think, are the strongest. But you've got Madison Ulrich at Denver. Maybe Nia Randolph at Southern Utah is the upset pick for me, maybe for the all-around. But yeah, I think a Stanford all-arounder would be good.
Yeah, I think that's probably Anna Roberts, Brennan Nault. The other long shots that I'm like, I had a really hard, this regional is too hard. Like there's some that I'm like, oh, like Kendall Whitman she can go with anybody. She can get a higher score. Like she has great form, all E-passes, like it's an entertaining routine. But the only I looked for a lot of people. Noelle Adams, maybe Iowa State floor, maybe if like
there are Iowa State individuals, so I feel like you have to, but based on precedent, you have to pick some Iowa State people.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. Iowa State is kind of maybe a beam. If a bunch of people fall on beam, then maybe there's a beam breakthrough. But this one I think is going to be really, really, really hard for an individual who isn't on Stanford's team to make it.
Yeah, I mean, so like on bars, Uisoma just got a 10. So I feel like she is emerging into the favorite category for bars. I would love Bella Mabanta from Denver to make it for beam. She hasn't she's had some struggles this season on beam, which I know because she's on my fantasy team, and I keep being like, no, you're staying in the lineup because I support the integrity of this routine. But I believe in this routine. So I would be so good. I would love that. Another bars would be Emily State from Boise Lopez.
They should name the state of Iowa after her. Or Idaho.
Emily State from Boise Lopez, Idaho. We're doing great, you guys. This is it's our best episode ever. A great nominee for bars qualifier also. I mean, I feel like you could pick her as a long shot, but I don't think that even qualifies as a long shot because she's done too well for too many years. That's just a very legitimate pick. And then, of course, we haven't talked about Maya Hooten because Minnesota is here. Maya Hooten for floor would probably be my favorite there. But like you mentioned, the Minnesota Beam Queens, like we have 3 or 4 likely Minnesota Beam qualifiers. I'd love Brooklyn Rowe to make it. That would be great. So yeah, I think it's a long shot time for your individual qualifiers, but there are a lot of Stanfords and Minnesotas and Denvers who can make it out of this one.
Okay, round 1.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Split up in your face. I just like fighting. It's enjoyable.
I know.
Wrestling is so fun. We just do it around the house sometimes, which you have witnessed. So, okay. BYU versus Utah State. I saw that look.
Yeah.
Poor Spencer had to endure, and Uncle Tim. BYU versus Utah State. So, BYU's 3rd straight season in round 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're 1-1 in the streak so far. So this is like the rubber game of the series of BYU in the round 1.
This is the Utah fight.
Yeah.
Utah. Because there's 4 or
Which
5
I feel
teams
like
in
this
Utah.
is probably very intense rivalry that we as Californians are not aware of, but I feel like there's probably history here.
I do wish that BYU had gotten the rights to show this meet because they have the best TV coverage of sports of anyone. It's so good. So maybe next year. It's Utah State, they're getting back to regionals because they missed it the last 2 seasons post Aimee Smith, so that's a huge comeback for them. So I don't know. I just hope they have fun because I don't really have a, I don't really have a winner except BYU TV.
Okay. Kind of a cop-out, I'm going to say. You've copped out on both of your round ones so far. You were like Michigan or Maryland, West Virginia can't pick. BYU and Utah State can't pick. So,
Yeah.
All right. I'll give you a pass, I guess.
My first argument is that like the round 1 for Maryland, West Virginia is going to be the most entertaining.
Yeah.
BYU usually has
I'm
a
definitely
weird
looking forward to that one.
full routine to look forward to. There's something, you can see who's married. There's lots of there's always someone and a Utah team. Remember, was it SUU who had a gymnast who competed up until she was, I think, 4 or 5 months pregnant. And yeah, because you can do that in gymnastics. Yeah, an Olympic champion did it too. So yeah.
All right. Well, I'm ready to move on then to the Alabama Regional. If you're just going to wimp out on BYU, Utah State. Okay. Alabama Regional. Who's here? Semifinal number 1, number 6 Cal, number 11 Alabama, North Carolina, and Iowa. Semifinal 2, number 3 Florida, number 14 Oregon State, NC State, and either Clemson or Rutgers, who are in the round 1 play-in. So this meeting of the Alabama Regional Debate Club is now in session. The topic: support or refute the following statement. Alabama will experience home floor advantage in the judging of this regional, becoming the favorite to advance. Jessica, your argument.
Refute. This is an assumption based on reputation rather than hard evidence, sir. Alabama's highest score this year came at a road meet. Alabama's peak at home was 197.45. Cal's peak on the road was 197.675, and Florida's is 198.025. At Elevate the Stage, which is basically a home meet for Alabama, I'm just saying, Cal beat Alabama. Alabama's in-state average this year is less than 0.2 better than its out-of-state average, not evidence of some major home advantage in judging. 0.2. Being at home does not make Alabama the favorite. Thank you very much. No evidence-based reason to think the result, whatever it is, won't be based on actual performance. I'm trusting the judges here, unlike some people.
Whoa. All right. Well, I'm going to take support on the idea that Alabama will experience home floor advantage in the judging because I am alive in the world and I've watched college gymnastics before. Of course, Alabama's going to get home floor advantage. That's why you host regionals. That's what you specifically host it. It's kind of a pain. You host it because you're like, we're going to get the home cooking. That's what we're looking for here. I mean, you cited Elevate the Stage. If you watched that meet, Alabama was getting gifts aplenty the whole time and then had a miss on floor, and that's why they didn't win. If they had hit floor, they would have beat Cal and Michigan State at that meet, and we would be talking about that as one of the most controversial meet results of the year because of the way vault in particular was scored versus other teams. We had some issues, so I think that's an argument for Alabama getting some home cooking. And SEC home scoring in general, especially in the postseason, is a juggernaut. Arkansas hosted last year, upset Kentucky to advance as the host of regionals. This regional, I think in particular, reminds me of 2019, if you remember. That was when Oklahoma, Cal, and Kentucky went to Georgia's regional, and then Georgia scored more than a point better than their season average and went 198 and made nationals in 2019. And that's what this one reminds me of. So, do I think Alabama will experience home floor advantage in the judging? Yes, I do.
All right. Well, I really do enjoy watching Alabama very much, but I'm just saying.
Oh, on the topic of Alabama,
Yeah.
side tangent. It's almost like we're breaking the debate club. We're supposed to be mad at each other, Jessica. We're supposed to be fighting. It's what the people want. We were talking earlier this season about like what's the identity of Alabama gymnastics now? Because it used to be like there was the whole Sarah and Suzanne, and Georgia was the evil empire, and Alabama were like the sweet Southern belles. And I feel like that's a really dated at this point. Like we're way past that. I feel like sports intensity. Like when you watch Gabby Gladio and Chloe LaCourciere finish routines, they're fist pumping and they're swearing sometimes. And it's like, we do that, the stuff that's normal in boy sports in Alabama women's sports gymnastics. And I feel like if we're looking for the forming modern identity of Alabama gymnastics, I think that's the direction we're going. I was thinking about that.
I like that. Yeah, it's true. I mean, the let's fucking go gif comes from Alabama.
Yeah.
We had the contest last year at Olympic Trials. We did a contest, invitation contest. It was very fun. Okay. The tough semifinal question in this one. Are North Carolina, NC State, and Iowa really 197 teams? Or is that a figment of some crazy meat scoring?
I'm leaning toward crazy meat scoring. I don't know that these are very good teams. I don't know that I have them in contention for upsetting the seeds. We've seen 197s from all of them, but I don't know that I have them upsetting in this one. I think that's
level 197.
Upset level, I think that's going to be tough. When you have Cal and Alabama and Florida and Oregon State, I think that's a tough ask. We've seen NC State do it before from the play-ins that one year, but I think they're going to need, like we were saying with LSU, I think they were going to need like a miss from one of them.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, are we using the actual code judging like the beginning of the season was closer to?
We're talking about reality. We're using reality.
Unleashed judging that's happening right now. Okay. So, okay, the individuals question. The
individual starts with the fact that Jade is here.
Right. Like,
so, I mean, I would say Jade Carey, clearest all-around qualifier favorite of any regional. But, if Oregon State could make it as a team, and then you have something weird things can happen, as you mentioned. So if for some reason, then maybe like Orly Tran at Iowa would be a solid pick for all-around. But I think it's tough for her. Like she got the bad draw as an all-arounder because you got the one that Jade's in. And there's only one all-around qualifier, so I think that's tough. But yeah, it's the Jade show.
My long shots, Anya Reed for floor, New Hampshire. She has that giant double layout, which we love a giant double layout. Like Bree Clark and floor at Clemson with the Biles 1. And I'm like, oh, she should bust out the Biles 1. She should just do it.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, like
especially because Clemson's in the play-in. So if they qualify out of the play-in, either they're going to qualify out of the play-in and then they're like, we did our job, we're here, let's do everything, or they're not, and then Bree Clark is as an individual, and it's just like, do whatever, you're competing as an individual. So I see no reason not to.
Yeah. And then someone from Oregon State who isn't Jade, maybe?
Yeah.
Like there are other people on the team, by the way, Spencer. It's not just the Jade Carey show. Jade Carey, president of Oregon. There are people like Lauren Lech. Let's kick you at the side of the head with my ring positions on beam, Lauren Lech. There's Sage Thompson's bars, which are beautiful. There's Caitlin Garcia on vault with her raucous celebrations when she lands her vault that she practices, which I love, and her floor. So one of them could also make it as an individual.
Yeah. I don't even think that's a long shot, but I guess because like you feel like everything gets saved for Jade and they're not going to get the scores because the judges are going to be like, well, we'll save our 10s for Jade.
Well, this is the whole thing I worry about, that people don't, you're just supposed to just judge and then the ranking feeds itself. You're not supposed to rank. And so when they're like, well, the judges don't have anything to do because that they're, they have to give that a higher score. And the next person up, I'm like, no, that's not about ranking. You're just supposed to use the deductions that you have, use all the numbers. So if they do that correctly and aren't trying to rank people, then the correct people will make it and any of them can make it. But Jade's obviously going to make it because she's like, has she fallen What's her
ever
hit
in
percentage?
her career.
Yeah, she's like 100% hit percentage at Oregon State. So,
in terms of others, I would like to see on the just got a 10 conversation, Lolly Dekanoidze on bars at North Carolina, I think is a solid pick to qualify. I'd really like to see a beam qualifier from Iowa. That's a really nice beam lineup. You've got Adeline Kenlin back. You've got Ilka Juk, who was at Long Island and then transferred to Iowa, has such a creative and interesting beam. Arlie Tran is great, and I would like to see her qualify individually because she got the bad draw, the bad all-around draw going up against Jade. So it'd be
Canadian
nice
Olympian.
to see an event from her. Chloe Negretti is at NC State. She's been getting 9.975s all over the place this year, so is definitely a contender. Like floor, I would pick for her. So yeah, those are some of the qualifiers I'd like to see.
Yeah, and Adeline Kenlin and Ilka Juk. Oh God, that would be.
Yeah,
so
it's such a good beam lineup.
It's such
at
a
Iowa.
good beam team, and Adeline's made it before. Yeah. Okay, round 1. This is the flip-off meet. Clemson versus Rutgers.
Ooh.
So,
I mean, you said Maryland, West Virginia was the one. Clemson, Rutgers
is very interesting because Rutgers head coach is still on administrative leave after an investigation about the AD and the AD split, and the investigation found that he had an inappropriate relationship with a coach. And then the Rutgers head coach was placed on administrative leave, and it's a very long administrative leave. So their head coach is on admin leave, and then they make regionals for the first time in more than a decade.
Big
related,
deal.
not related. I don't know. It's causation is not boopity boops.
Correlation is not necessarily causation. Is that what you were looking for?
That is exactly
causation
what I was
is not
for.
necessarily boopity boops. That should be on a pillow. They should have that on Pinterest in that Pinterest font, like cross stitched onto a pillow. Causation is not necessarily boopity boop. Just go burn. I would you should do that. Just like mangled quote pillows. That's my $1 million idea for you. It would be, people would love them.
So many. Do we have a cross stitch listener? Because I have so many cross stitch ideas. Also, if
I should just take the things you text me and then do that and just be like a list.
What I texted you today?
I would love to read what you texted me today, which you just told me I wasn't allowed to, but right before we started
This
recording.
one is okay. None of the other ones.
None of the others. Jessica, right before we started, texted me, run 3 minutes late. Let me spell run for you. RUNNNNF.
I was running late. I didn't have time to edit my text. So anyway.
I mean, I got it. I got that you were run 3 minutes late, but it did say run.
So, speaking of running, Clemson back in the running again to make it to national championships after being in the round 1 last year. Clemson's ranked better than the play-in spots, but demoted for geography. And you know how I feel about that. So, I want Rutgers to make it for feelings, but I think Clemson has I feel like Clemson is going to take this. Like, this is the one where I have pretty strong feelings about who's going to make it.
I'm very happy that we have a pick here.
I mean, that their score so much better. Like this isn't really a fair round 1. So, but I'm really happy for Rutgers.
I think I would have agreed with that before I watched Rutgers at the Big Ten Championship. And I was like, oh, hey, like these bars routines. I was like, this is not these are not fake scores. This is legit. That Rutgers is the one team, watching teams at conference championships. We've seen a lot of these routines before where I was really like, you outperformed my expectations and my priors of what I thought the gymnastics we were going to see from you was. So I'm keeping a pin in Rutgers.
Okay.
Washington Regional.
Ready.
Who's here? Not Washington, because they did not qualify to their own regional. Semifinal 1, number 7, Missouri, number 10, Georgia, Arizona, and Arizona State. Semifinal number 2, number 2, Oklahoma, number 15, Auburn, Nebraska, and either Illinois or UC Davis from the play-in round 1. So this meeting of the Washington Regional Debate Club is now in session. The topic: support or refute the following statement. It is a failure of format to have a regional in Washington State where all the seeded teams are from the SEC/Middle South of the country, and this needs to change. Jessica, your argument.
Support, obviously. The clue is in the name, regionals. What is regional about the teams here? All this talk this season about being fan-friendly, what the fans want to see, like tens, this is the definition of a not fan-friendly. Who are Washington fans supposed to root for and against in this? What associations they have with any of these teams? How are they going to function, Spencer? We are not learning our lessons. They're just going to pick another purple team because of purple. Hosting nationals in Fort Worth has not been good for crowds and attendance because it's a neutral site with no built-in local fan base for these teams. So it's been it's a disaster. The arena's very nice though. And we like that we can walk downtown, but it's far away from downtown. This is essentially a neutral site regional, and it doesn't work. Put Oregon State here. They're the closest team. Easier for fans to travel. The local UW fans can either root for the Pacific Northwest Pride or against them because, Oregon, they have more trees than we do.
Yeah, good. I mean, a really good impression of people from Washington there. Love it.
That's such an angry bunch. They're not a bunch of nature-loving hikers there. I don't know what you're talking about. Your argument, sir?
Yeah, my argument is I reject this. I refute this because we want postseason placements to be real rewards for performance during the season, making the season matter and not have them be arbitrarily based on geography. See the problems that you just cited with Clemson getting demoted to the play-in meets, even though they were ranked above them because of geography, which superseded the actual performance during the season. NQS is not perfect. Judging is not perfect, as we've made very clear. But having a regionals placement formula based on NQS is as objective and performance-based as we can realistically get. So sometimes you're going to end up with a regional where it doesn't feel that regional, but it's an unavoidable and necessary outcome of placing teams in spots that they earned with their gymnastics rather than because they happen to be nearby, which is not in the spirit of sporting competitiveness.
I mean, I might have to hand it to you that you might have won that one, Spencer. I mean, I hate to agree, but you make a very strong argument, sir.
Okay, I appreciate your argument for the locals.
Thank you. I mean, what are they going to do with themselves? Do any of those other teams even have a dog mascot that are coming there?
I mean, the Georgia is.
Oh, that's right.
The Bulldogs.
Yeah, it's just so different from a husky, though. I don't know if the crossover will work.
They couldn't possibly.
The tough semifinal question.
All right.
Okay. Are Georgia and Auburn actually more likely to lose in the semifinal to an unseeded team than they are to upset Oklahoma or Missouri to make it to nationals?
Interesting. I'm liking these incisive questions here. I think the argument in favor of that is that Georgia and Auburn both got 195.95s at SECs, which is that's not a challenge to advance to nationals kind of score. That's a get upset in the semifinals kind of score. But those were unexpected errors, like Kara Akers' beam.
Yeah.
Like, do we think that's going to be repeated? Really?
No.
Or like Olivia Greaves on bars. They had, those scores were the result of counting mistakes that aren't necessarily going to be repeated. But then Auburn has the injuries, like Olivia Hollingsworth and Caitlin Jong being out has really changed those lineups and stunted their scoring potential. So I think, like, do we legitimately expect them to beat Oklahoma and Missouri? Not really. I think Oklahoma and Missouri are favored. I know how you feel about Missouri, so I don't even need to ask what you think about Oklahoma and Missouri being favorites. So yeah, I think, maybe I agree with that. They're more likely to lose in the semifinal.
Yeah. Is this the boring regional because it's so already decided?
I don't think it is already decided. Like, the Georgia-Missouri could get dicey.
It's not boring because Missouri is in it and their floor. And Kara Aker is on beam. This is all you need to know. It's not going to be boring.
I think actually the most interesting thing about this one for me, though, is the all-around, because Georgia hasn't been competing with an all-arounder. Auburn hasn't been competing with an all-arounder because they're all injured. So, like, Emma Spence, you've got an opening here. The Emma Spence bump could be happening. Huge opportunity for someone from an Arizona, an all-arounder, or a Nebraska all-arounder, or Chloe Cho for Illinois is another good one to make it through for the all-around. But I think there's a real opportunity in this one. Like, this is, if you were an all-arounder on an unseeded team, this is the regional you wanted, not the Jade regional. This is the one, because I think there's an opportunity for a surprise here.
If you're not already on the Cho-Cho train, make sure you get on that and have something orange, which you should always have because Netherlands, if you're a gymnastics fan. But yeah, that's just root for Chloe Cho from Illinois if you don't know what to do with yourself, because UW isn't in the regional. The long shots, you guys, this one has good vaulters. Kiana Abram from UC Davis on vault and floor. And also UC Davis is really hard to get into, you guys, just so you know. This is like a hardcore academic school. And it's very impressive. Air Force and UC Davis are basically you're good at gymnastics too. Those are my schools. I mean, I don't know what her major is, but it's hard. And then J Mac from Illinois State on vault, double twisting Yurchenko and full twisting Yurchenko. Doesn't she have both? She's doing a full twisting Yurchenko right now. I answered my own question. No, she's doing a full twisting Yurchenko, but it's so fast. She's one of those people that you're like, was it 7 turns that she just did? So watch those vault, and Kiana Abram can stick. I hope they wear that Leo that makes them look like they're a bird. I love that UC Davis Leo also.
In terms of others for individuals, Georgia qualifiers, I would assume we'll see some if they don't make it as a team. Lily Smith's bars, Kara Akers beam, Nyla Aquino on floor would be great. She has so much amplitude, so when she controls those landings, there's not a lot to take there. Obviously, we both need Paige Zancan to qualify and do something for Auburn, like her vault, but also Gabby McLaughlin's beam. This is a really good beam one with Kara Aker, with Gabby McLaughlin. This is a very competitive beam regional for those qualifiers. Emily White at Arizona State is also an underrated beamer that maybe could get in there and do some damage there. Allison Fears of Arizona regular type, not Arizona State, for bars is a good one.
Regular type.
Just Arizona
it's murder piggies, not devil forks.
Sure.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
Javelinas, you guys, look them up. Do not approach. That's what you need to know about them. It's snow Arizona, not hot Arizona. Well, it gets hot there too. But anyway, Jessica, here's what I want to tell you about. Jessica, I'm saying my own name to you, Spencer.
I noticed that. Yeah, I heard
yes. I'm bringing myself back to
Jessica.
Grounding. Yeah. Okay, round 1. The flip off. So this is 2 teams go head to head, and the one that wins gets to move on to the next round of regionals. So this is Illinois versus UC Davis.
Yeah.
Which is a fun one, I think. Legacy team versus the underdog. Like at one time, I don't know if this is still true, but UC Davis was a scholarship team and they lost all their scholarships and they went to regionals wearing shirts that said no scholarship, no problem. And I was like, damn, that is oof. Anyway, the teams. So Illinois has made regionals 22 straight years versus Davis back to regionals for the first time since 2014. They have had big lows, and this is a big high for them right now, probably because of that gorgeous leotard. Davis has a once-in-a-generation kind of a roster with Amelia Moneymaker setting program records, not related to the Moneymaker Stunt Sisters, in case you were wondering. All right. Any final words? What is your biggest upset prediction?
Ooh. My upset prediction is that there probably won't be. Yeah. I don't think there's going to be a big upset. I think that you have an unseeded team, let's define an upset. An unseeded team that qualifies to nationals, is that an upset, or does Arkansas making nationals count as an upset? Because I think that could happen. Like with Michigan State and Kentucky and Arkansas, I think Arkansas is in there. In that regional with LSU.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't count and I have to pick like,
one of
North
the top
Carolina.
8 teams. One of the top
8 teams doesn't make
not
it. Okay,
making
outside the top 8, I think we could see Alabama make it from their home regional. I think that's the most likely one.
So who are they upsetting?
Cal.
Okay.
I think we could see that. I think UCLA and Utah are going to go through from theirs. I wouldn't say Michigan State or Kentucky. Like Kentucky's number 9, but that's not an upset because I think it's a 50-50 with Michigan State and Kentucky. But I think Arkansas could go through there. I'm not counting out Georgia and Auburn, but I think, Missouri has a front running status there. So those are my team upsets.
Mine, I'm gonna say, is a really wild one.
You need to pick a wild one because you're you.
Yeah, because it's so. But it's not. I mean, Missouri should make it easily, so that's not really. I think it would be if Alabama beat Cal. That would be a big upset. Or Stanford beats UCLA again. If Stanford's like, oh, by the way, we were saving everything, and UCLA just like has a meet like they did at the beginning of the season or last year at regionals, although there was a lot of drama happening the night before regionals that allegedly led to how Utah or UCLA performed. But I guess that would be another really big one.
I mean, you can go like you have all the teams you could pick from. You can pick West Virginia, your favorites, Maryland and West Virginia to go through.
Likely ones.
Yeah.
The other thing is Kentucky beating Michigan State and making it. That is like that is one that could happen, but it's not, you guys. I just want everyone to do their best and be very happy, but that would be mine. All right. Okay, we have speaking of, we always talking about judging and fixing the code. So we have a letter that is very important this week. If you have feedback for us, we do live Q&A on College and Cocktails or Behind the Scenes, which is an extra show for Club Gym members that we do every week, a whole extra bonus show. And if you have feedback for us, for thus means us and that at the same time.
Yeah.
GymCastic.com, the message board, email us at gymcastic@gmail.com. Okay. Hypothetical college scoring.
Joel says, hi, big fan here. Curious for your takes on how NCAA gymnastics would change in either of the below scenarios. 1, 5 up, 5 count. Guessing this would make everything less fun because teams would play it safe, but any other effects? We'd be more likely to have different/new schools winning. 2, open code. Everyone would whine because we'd see more Skinner-like form, but at least we wouldn't have to hear whining about too many 10s and bunching scores. Which team would be best? Interesting. All right, let's start with 5 up, 5 count.
I love 5 up, 5 count. I think it should be more like 4 up, 3 count though.
So you still want to be able to drop a score.
Yeah.
So you're not doing it. I like counting every score.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we would have more unexpected results.
Yeah, we would.
I think that's what we would have with. I actually don't think teams would play it safer because I think they're pretty much already playing it pretty safe in general.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a bunch of elites and good level 10s, you're doing super safe gymnastics because the code really doesn't push. But this is the thing. What about 5 up? So 5 people compete. All 5 scores count. You cannot drop a score, but it's also open code. But which means that it's like the FIG. It's not out of 10. But here's my caveat about if you have open-ended code, then you'll have shitty form. If your execution score is lower than a 9.5, the routine doesn't count. Drop.
Love it.
That's how you fix it.
So which current NCAA team would do the best in an open difficulty code of points?
Which team has
whoever has the most elites?
Yeah, that's a thing. God, it might actually be. I'm thinking it just open code, not 5 up, 5 count.
Okay, let's do just open code.
Arkansas has some people that can do some crazy skills.
Yeah, they have like Joss.
Yep. Joss.
I would say Florida has more of them, maybe. LSU also.
Florida and LSU.
Yeah.
Yep. And then
I mean, UCLA has Jordan Childs, who can, thrive in an open code.
Yeah, she can do so much more that she's doing. Yeah, LSU can do a lot more, especially on bars. Like bars is the place where I feel like everybody replacing the squat on with an actual transition would just up everything. We would have the end of double backs unless everything else was really exciting. But you have to push who would do best if we implemented my system of you have lower than a 9, okay, or 9.5 or like a 9.0.
Depends on how we're like, are we also judging it like Elite is currently judged, where like a 7.9 is kind of a good execution score?
No, obviously it would be the ridiculous way that
because it would be college gymnastics. Yeah.
Right. Which no one's gonna get below a 9.5. I mean, some people will, but who would do the best if the execution actually mattered? Or if it was like, oh, what about this? What about some kind of like, what's the mathematical balance? It has to be a ratio or of score, or it doesn't count. So like if your execution is like 7 times better than your execution, then your score doesn't
I don't
count.
Understand.
So basically, if your execution score is there, they have to be close together. Your execution, they have to be within a point of each other, or the routine doesn't count.
So if your execution is 9, but your difficulty score isn't an 8, it doesn't count. Is that what the argument that's happening right now?
I'm trying to think of stuff. I'm just talking out loud about how there could be something where they have to be, your execution can't be so much lower without making it actual just in a 9.0 or 9.5. It can't be so much lower that your difficulty can just you can just do trash gymnastics as long as your D score is high enough. There's some ratio that marries those two.
So you're just basically like, what if gymnastics were the way we want it to be? Who would win?
Yeah, well, how do we implement a code that makes that happen? Because I think the advantage of college gymnastics now is it's so much cleaner than Elite and so much prettier to watch. Like you really see execution. I'm not talking about like bent elbows on bars. Like that's kind of a dumb rule, but not the things I disagree with. Pointed toes and straight legs and amplitude and internal dynamics. Some balance. I'm sure there's some sport we don't know about that actually has this. Maybe it's diving, but diving execution scores are really low. Or they used to be. Like a 7 was like a 10 in diving, because you can die if you do it wrong. Oh, almost like gymnastics.
I don't know. Your diving question.
All right. Tell us, write in GymCastic@gmail.com, or of course, we can discuss this on College and Cocktails this week, which is going to be after regionals on Saturday. The drink is Pain of an Elimination. Pain of an Elimination is the drink or the mocktail. Fantasy Regional Championships lock on Wednesday, April 2nd at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, because the meets start that day. And also, Fact Checker and Aimee Boorman's book comes out in 3 weeks. Pre-order now or send in your questions for Aimee Boorman, because we're going to do an interview this week. The Balance, My Years Coaching Simone Biles. There's so many stories. Like, if you still have questions or you want to know the background of a lot of things in Jordan Child's book, it was already written in Aimee Boorman's book. And that fills in a lot of perspective and context in that book. And it's really interesting. And NCAA live show tickets are on sale now. And remember, you get an extra discount for in-person early bird tickets for the Club Gym Nerd members. Expires April 6th. So GymCastic.com, you can get those. And we can debate ratios of difficulty and e-scores and talk about all the regionals. Remember to send Spencer your gift requests for his, because all the information you need is also at the Balance Beam Situation. The brackets, we have a bracket for you guys too. And all of the preview information, and also the gifts of the week and the schedule with the links to the scores, all of that stuff. Do you have a live blogging schedule for this week?
Probably. Yes. The live blogging schedule is yes. I will be live blogging regionals
at thebalancebeamsituation.com. So we'll see you guys on Saturday. Thank you so much for being with us. And thank you for your support. Remember to take off on gay, split on rights, Thanks for listening, and we'll see you at College and Cocktails on Saturday.